TYT Sports, Rick Strom here, bringing in Mike Berman of YNN Austin. Mike, how are you today?
I am fantastic. I'm now better because I get to talk to you.
Oh, place in my heart, Mike, a place in my heart. Just a preface to everyone. Mike also went to Garmick North. I understand that I'm representing the high school very, very well, where we graduated from. He lived in my town. I have known him for many, many years, so it's great to talk with him on a professional level, of course. Let me start off with this. Let me ask you this, Mike. Obviously, you've covered the Big 12. You work in Austin, so you cover the Longhorns. Is Jacobin Brown the best pure scorer in the Big 12 this year?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he led the league in scoring, 20 points a game. And he's kind of got that characteristic that you need to be a true scorer. And that's that he ain't shy. He will shoot it from anywhere at any time, spinning, running, laying on his butt. I don't know. I mean, he will shoot it at any time. And he is so streaky. But as is the case with any great scorer, you know, he's willing to shoot himself out of a slump. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he'll do that. But he was tasked with really having to shoulder virtually all of the offensive load for this team this year, just because, you know, they lost 3 first-round NBA picks: Tristan Thompson, Jordan Hamilton, Corey Joseph, and they're a very young team. So a lot of those freshmen really weren't capable of scoring, maybe like Rick Barnes would have liked them to. So Jacobin shouldered the load. He averaged 20 points per game. He had multiple 30-plus point games against big teams, too. So in my eyes, you know, you got Thomas Robinson's a great scorer. Marcus Denman at Missouri is a fantastic scorer. But pure score, Jacobin's definitely the guy in the Big 12.
Texas has the 6th seed right now. They face Iowa State, who, of course, has the 3 seed in the second round. Iowa State having a tremendous year this year with Fred Hoiberg winning Big 12 Coach of the Year. Getting back to Texas very quickly, how much does their success rely on the supporting cast then?
Well, I mean, Brown needs help. There's no question. I mean, there's been plenty of games where he has scored 25 or 30 points that they have not won because they haven't got contribution from the rest of the team. And they're going to be down a guy. Their starting power forward, Alexi Wanmeni, dislocated his wrist. They were up in Lawrence to finish the regular season. He dislocated his wrist, and they decided he was going to have surgery. He's going to be out for the rest of the season here, however long that lasts. So now they're down to 2 veterans. Clint Chapman's their other veteran. He's a senior. Jacobin Brown's a junior. But the rest of the team, 6 of them, are true freshmen. So he's going to need some help. Iowa State, as you mentioned, had a really good season under Fred Hoiberg. He shared Coach of the Year honors as voted on by the coaches with Bill Self of Kansas, and I think very deserving. Maybe Frank Haith should have gotten some love for what he did at Mizzou, but certainly Self and Hoiberg, both very deserving of that honor. And led by Royce White, who's an incredibly tough matchup for any team in the country. Iowa State will be tough on Texas, and they'll need some help. Jacobin Brown will need some help if they're going to get out of that game with a win.
Mike, let's touch on my cousin's alma mater, Kansas. Is there any scenario you foresee of them not getting a number 1 seed in the tournament?
Well, I think if they get all the way to the Big 12 championship game on Saturday and they're looking against Missouri, you know, then Missouri and Kansas would have played 3 times. And if Missouri beats Kansas, Missouri would have won 2 of the 3 matchups. So I think that's the one scenario. I kind of think that if Kansas, let's say, loses in the semifinals, that could even benefit them in that they won't have a 3rd game against Missouri where maybe they lose to them 2 out of 3 times. Mm-hmm. So I think the one way in which that could happen is if KU and Mizzou play on Saturday at the Sprint Center and Missouri goes out and beats them, then you've got Missouri looking at you saying, if you're the selection committee, you're looking at Missouri's resume saying, well, they beat Kansas 2 out of 3 times. So,
right.
I think then you give credence to the committee to make Missouri a 1 seed and drop Kansas to a 2.
A very good point that I got to be honest with you, I never thought of, that it would benefit them to possibly lose in the semifinals. So
well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to remind you of things you haven't thought of.
Thank you so much, Mikey. Let's touch on Baylor very quickly. They won 17 straight to start the year. They finished 9-6, 4-4 in their last 8. Is timid the best way to sum up their team right now?
Well, the word you hear a lot is not quite as euphemistic as timid. It's soft. And that often applies mostly to Perry Jones III.
Right.
The preseason Big 12 Player of the Year who ends up on the postseason All Big 12 third team. And you had a lot of people thinking he didn't really deserve to be on that third team, that it was mostly name recognition that earned him that spot. You know what? They just they have so much length and so much talent. And it really is truly a mystery how they don't use it better than they do. I love their point guard, Pierre Jackson. He's a JUCO transfer who ESPN's Jason King, in his kind of postseason awards that he wrote up an article about, named him most clutch player in the whole country. He had a number of big shots laid, game winners. He's the type of guy that you wish his moxie existed inside of Perry Jones's body. Because if Perry Jones had that kind of motor and courage, I mean, look out. He'd be one of the best players in the whole country. So timid, maybe timid's kind of a good word. I think they are a very enigmatic team. So much talent. Perry Jones, Quincy Miller, one of their true freshmen. He's going to be a first-round pick in the draft. Quincy Acey, freak athlete, is probably an NBA player in some capacity. Pierre Jackson, really, really good. So, maybe timid's a good word. I might lean towards soft. I'd like to see them maybe max out their potential by playing a little tougher, because I think if they did, the perfect example is their 2 games with Mizzou. Missouri has no size, and they allowed Missouri to go into Waco and push them around, and then they got crushed in Columbia. So, it's a shock that they had a good season, but it's a shock they weren't even better than they were with the talent they have and the size that they have down low.
Getting to Kansas State, they seem like that sort of program that could easily win 3 straight and get very, very hot, or they could be that team that just has a terribly bad game and lose in the first round. I mean, which do you think is more likely to happen? Do you believe that they will get past the first round? How do you foresee them finishing in this tournament?
Well, it's good to talk about Kansas State following Baylor, because those two will match up in their opener here in Kansas City. Interesting game. I mean, again, Baylor's length is something that could really challenge Kansas State. But Kansas State is as physical a team in the conference as there is. That is what Frank Martin likes to do. He's going to test the referees and push the envelope as far as he can. And that can be tough on this Baylor team because, as I said, Baylor has this reputation, and I think it's rightfully earned at some level, that they're kind of soft, that they back down a little bit. And Kansas State is going to, with Jordan Enriquez and Thomas Gibson and, anyone with any size on that team, they're going to get nasty. And they're going to make it tough on Baylor on Thursday. That game tips off a little before noon. I mean, do I think Kansas State is capable of going one and done here? Of course. Certainly when you're playing Baylor, a top 12 or 13 team in the country. But I think you're right. I mean, the bracket sets up where they have 2 really difficult games. They'd play Baylor, then they'd play likely Kansas, who they didn't beat this season. But they're a team that is always going to be in the game, almost always, because they defend. It's a team that struggles offensively. They don't have a Jacob Pullen or going back even farther, they don't have a Michael Beasley or a Bill Walker, but they're going to defend, and they're going to crash the boards, and they are going to make it extremely difficult for you to get any easy looks. And I think for that reason, they have a very good chance to beat Baylor. They'll bother Baylor. There's no doubt.
Let me ask you this very quickly. I want to read you a quote and then get to the question. From Frank Martin, one of the most entertaining coaches I've ever seen on the sidelines. He said this could end up being the best Big 12 tournament ever. Agree or disagree?
Well, I mean, you're down to 10 teams this year, so you've weeded out Nebraska and Colorado, so that already kind of increases the talent pool. And there's this feeling of finality at this tournament with Missouri's impending move to the SEC. I mean, Missouri in this area of the country, along with Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, those teams have been playing each other so long and have staged so many great conference tournaments, whether it be Big 6, 7, 8, or 12 here in Kansas City. And I think that sense of finality is almost placing an increased importance on this tournament. I feel like the fans can feel it. The players can feel it. Obviously, Frank Martin says he can feel it, that this has a chance to be really good. I mean, no matter who wins the Baylor Kansas State game, that's going to be a good game against Kansas. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Finish your point.
I just think that, there's the potential there, and everyone's kind of forecasting that Missouri and Kansas meet on Saturday for the Big 12 championship. And that would, given the two games they've played, given the history of that rivalry, that would be an appropriate ending to kind of the tournament as it is here in Kansas City. And I can guarantee you that it would be pretty crazy inside Sprint Center.
Would it be pretty crazy?
For those of you Curb fans, yes, it would be.
Reading the blogs, reading articles, and preparing for this interview, it seems like the consensus...
You prepared for this?
I believe I am. I mean, how am I doing so far?
Questionable. I'm just kidding. Don't let me ruin your role. Keep going.
The consensus seems to be, all jokes aside, the consensus seems to be that Iowa State is that sort of sleeper pick to pull off some upsets and possibly win the whole thing. What do you think about that? Do you give them a legitimate chance to win it?
Yeah. I mean, legitimate? Yeah, I guess I would side with sure, because like I mentioned, Royce White he's a matchup nightmare. I mean, do you put a big on him because he's going to go around him? Do you put a little guy on him? He'll back him down into the post. So, I think that team's playing with a lot of confidence. Huge win to finish the regular season at home over Baylor. They beat Kansas once this year. They were 0-2 against Missouri, but played them very tight in both games. So that's a team that believes it can win. I mean, and it's got players that are accomplished. Chris Allen, is a good wing player for them. He played, in Final Fours with Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Mm-hmm. So, those are players that are high major recruits. Royce White was initially a Minnesota signee. So I think combined with the guys they have and probably the confidence that they're feeling, I don't see why not. I mean, they could definitely beat Texas. They split with Texas. And then they played Missouri, who, again, they played close in both games. And Iowa State fans will travel well to this tournament. They'll have some backing there. Missouri will have more, given that it's in Kansas City. But there will be some clones in the Sprint Center seats. And you get past that, who knows? You got one game to win, whether it's Kansas, Kansas State, or Baylor, and it's certainly no reason why they couldn't.
Mike, let me end with this. I mean, I have to ask you, obviously, with all bias aside, we know that you work in Austin.
Sure.
I do not foresee Texas winning this entire thing. I believe it will come down to most likely Kansas and Missouri. What are your picks? Who do you think goes to the final? Who takes it all?
Well, where do you think there's going to be more bias, the team I cover or Missouri, where I went to school?
Probably Missouri.
I mean, I really do think Kansas and Missouri are on a collision course for that game. I think they're far and away the two best teams in the league. I think the bracket sets up nicely for Missouri because they don't have to go through Kansas or Kansas State, and they lost to Kansas State twice. So they would have to beat, Missouri would have to beat Texas Tech or Oklahoma State, then the winner of Iowa State, Texas, and then they're in the championship game. And I do believe that Thomas Robinson is too much of a load, and Tyshawn Taylor's playing at a really, really high level right now. So I think that those two meet on Saturday. And, I don't want to sound biased, but I think Missouri has so much incentive to win this game. They really feel like the Big 12 world is against them, and it is because, no one likes that they're bolting for the SEC. I think given it being their last Big 12 tournament, certainly they'll have fan support. They nearly won in Lawrence. I mean, they blew a huge lead, but to be up 19 points at Allen Fieldhouse is saying something. Mm-hmm. It means you're capable of doing something. So I say that Missouri wins a very close Saturday game over Kansas to win the Big 12 championship.
Let me ask you one more last question very quickly. I know that obviously you are a huge Missouri fan. You follow the team religiously. I mean,
totally impartial.
Yeah,
totally impartial.
Obviously. Frank Haith, as you said, he took over. He may have got he may have not received as much love as Fred Hoiberg did for Big 12 Coach of the Year. However, it seems like he inherited a lot of players. So would you say that it was the coaching that got them there, or did he just inherit some pretty damn good basketball players?
I think it's a combination of both. I think that the telling part for, the telling argument for him, the most supportive argument for him having done a great coaching job is this is the same group that really, really grew disinterested and sour towards one another down the stretch last year with Mike Anderson and struggled. And, Haith came in. He kind of convinced them that they were going to do things differently. They were going to run more set offense. They were going to defend a little better in the half court. Then they lost a really good player in Lawrence Bowers early in the season, before the season began, to an ACL injury. He never played. And what Haith did was he tailored his game plan to a guard-oriented lineup. They play four guards. They have Kim English, who's about 6'6", plays the four, if you will. And so that is where I believe Haith has done a tremendous job, is developing a game plan for a team that has one legitimately talented big man in Ricardo Ratliff. But no question, there are players on this team who are very talented. So it wasn't like he was coming into a situation where the cupboard was completely bare. So I think it's kind of both sides are worthy of discussion and being recognized as the right, I guess, answer here. But I said weeks ago I didn't think that Haith would win Big 12 Coach of the Year. I thought that Self would. I was kind of surprised Hoiberg shared it with him, although I do believe he's very deserving. Really good job there in Ames this season.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mike, look, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I mean, from one North Brookian, I believe is the way you could say it, to another.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, it sounds totally cool. Thank you so much for coming on. Enjoy your time in Austin and enjoy your time in Kansas covering the tournament.
Will do, man. Thank you for having me, and keep up the good work.